Hopefully you've already seen episodes 1 and 2. Episode 1, we talked about fundamentals and the big picture stuff and getting the basics. And then episode number 2, I talked about food, okay? And now I didn't tell you what to eat, but I gave you some guidance that's hopefully going to let you make some good decisions for yourself, okay? So you get the right way of eating in the long term for yourself. This episode here is going to be about the exercise and training side of life, okay? But before I get into that, come on guys, if you're watching this and you haven't done already, then make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and send these videos on my YouTube channel to some riding buddies and get them on the case as well, because I promise you I've got so much killer content coming up in 2021 that you're not going to want to miss it. So, calories in, calories out. The calories out part is obviously, it's the fun stuff, isn't it? It's going riding, it's training in the gym, but it's also, remember, day-to-day life. So as I sit here now, I'm burning calories with my brain, the muscles in my face, my breathing. I just had lunch, so my digestion, all of that is burning calories, and you're burning them 24/7. So as I said in the first episode, when we talk about that balance, we need, if we put training and riding to one side, let's think about how we can burn more calories in the day-to-day. Where can we make some changes? Can you park further from work and walk a bit further? Can you take the stairs in your apartment block or in your office block if you're not all working from home? At lunchtime, instead of just sitting at your desk with your packed lunch or your takeaway, can you get up and get outside? Number one, the fresh air and some daylight will do you the world of good. But number two, if you can get a load of steps done as well, then that's a really good thing. Steps then. So, not that rubbish pop band from the 90s or whatever it was, but basically a rather crude measure of how much you're moving in a day. Now, there's apps out there, there's watches out there. I used to have like a smart watch that told me how many steps I did in a day. And in a day where I'm just sat behind the laptop, it was amazing. Like, you get to tea time and you'd only done a couple of thousand and it's nothing, and that's just walking around the house. Whereas if I'm in the gym coaching all day, I do 15, 16,000 steps. The difference in the calories burnt between those two is huge. And this is something that we see a lot of with people struggling to lose fat. Is they say, but I go riding like twice a week, and I go to yoga, or I go to the gym once a week. And I say, well, okay, so your gym is an hour, maybe that's a few hundred calories, and your yoga is an hour, probably a couple hundred, and you go riding and maybe do 1,500 calories, riding for a few hours on a weekend. But the rest of the week, you work an office job, you spend your evenings sat on the sofa, you drive to work, and actually, you're doing some great stuff, but you're still quite sedentary. You're not moving enough, okay? And that is going to make a massive difference to your calorie burn and your ability to get in a long-term calorie deficit. So one of the first things you can do is start to think about ways of just chipping away at that. Walking more is probably the best way to do it. Taking the stairs, maybe getting a desk where you can spend some time at a standing desk as well as sitting desk, okay? And things like that. And all these things contribute to increasing your calorie burn throughout the day to get you in that deficit. Let's talk about strength training, my favourite. Happy days. We're in the gym. Oh no, the gyms are shut right now, so I'm on lockdown, but who cares? Anyway, strength training. In the actual session, a strength training session, 45 minutes to an hour, you're working hard, but you're not maybe burning as many calories as an hour's hard riding, for instance. However, what we are doing, hopefully, is building muscle, okay? And improving and increasing lean body mass is a really effective way of making your body burn more calories in the long run. Your muscle takes calories just day to day to function. So a big muscular person sitting on the sofa is burning more calories than a smaller, less muscled person, okay? So building some muscle, like, you're not going to suddenly get hench, don't worry. Building some muscle is really positive for fat loss, and it's also, guess what, going to improve your performance. And in case you didn't know, I've got some really good programs. I'll put some links below that are going to help you if you want to do that. Then if we talk about your cardio work, or riding stroke running, or whatever it is that whatever it is that you do. There's a lot of confusion going on about the idea of long, like slow and steady, like fat burning work, or high intensity work, okay, that apparently doesn't burn fat, okay, and which you should do. And there's a lot of people who are like, you got to do it this way, or you got to do it this way, da 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 da. When obviously, like pretty much everything I talk about, the answer is a bit in the middle. It's do a bit of that and do a bit of that, okay? Because that's how we go. We're not attached to some one method or one technique, okay? Both work and both have their pros and cons. So first of all, let's go to the long, slow, steady fat burning stuff. So why is it called fat burning? Well, when you're going aerobic pace, so like low heart rate, okay, for a prolonged period of time, your body will primarily use fat for fuel, okay? However, the problem is that because you're working at a low intensity, you're using less calories, okay, per hour of exercise or training. That's fine though. Let's compare that to the other way, where we've got the high intensity interval training, HIIT workout, intervals, all that good stuff, high intensity. And you're working at a really high intensity here, so primarily your body will be using carbohydrate to fuel that training. However, for a given amount of time, you're going to burn more calories because you're working at higher intensity. And so we've got this quandary where, but over here with long and steady, I'm burning less calories, but I'm burning fat. That sounds good. And over here, I've got high intensity where I'm not burning fat, but I think I should be, but I'm burning more calories. So that sounds good. And everyone gets all confused when the reality is you don't have to choose one or the other. Ideally, you're going to do a bit of both. Some long, steady duration stuff is really great for your health. It's low stress. It doesn't tend to cause you to have a raging appetite afterwards, leading to overeating. You can do it for consecutive days without overtraining or risking injury. And yes, it's lower calorie burn per time, but you can do it for a couple of hours if you've got time, 2 or 3 hours, and then you're still burning a lot of calories. The fact it's burning fat during the session is actually, it sounds good, but is of minimal importance, I believe, in this context. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, we've got the high intensity crew, okay? And guess what? That's awesome because you could do that on your lunch break. You could do that in 40 minutes. You could do that in your garden. You could do it in the gym. You could do it on the bike. You could do it on the rowing machine. There's loads of places you can do that, and it's really effective. It's really great for pushing up the fitness. However, we can't go that hard that often. You can't do that 5 days a week and expect to perform well and not get injured and not get sick. You can only do that maybe 1 or 2 days a week, maybe 3 if you're young, pretty fit, eating well, sleeping well, okay? So you can't do that all the time anyway, which means if I do a bit of that, a bit of strength training and a bit of long, steady work, then that sounds pretty good to me. That sounds like a training program. That sounds like how to become an all-round better mountain biker or motocrosser or skier or snowboarder. Like that is the foundation for physicality. And guess what? That's what you need to do to lose body fat as well. Okay? There's no secret this or that or whatever, despite what all the bullshit marketing is going to tell you. Okay? So don't get too tied to one method. Like this is how you burn fat, or there's some guru on the fucking internet who's like, no, this is how you do it. There's no other way. Because it's nonsense, okay? There's 1,000 ways to do it, and all of them can work, basically, if you apply yourself, if you're consistent, if you're smart, okay, and if you work hard. So there you go, part 3, done and dusted. And again, like, it's pretty simple, really. I mean, it's about making a series of decisions, and initially they're going to be decisions. There's going to be conscious decisions about what to eat, when to eat it, what training to do, what exercise to do, when and how you're going to move. And then over time, those things become habits, okay? Success in anything in life is about habit, okay? The people who are consistently fit pretty much all year, 12 months a year, they've been fit as long as you know them, and they're probably going to be fit as long as you know them. It's because they habitually train. They habitually go and ride their bike. They habitually, do the right things. The people who are currently fat, okay, and again, it's not about pointing fingers, but if you're currently fat, it's because you've habitually overeaten and under-exercised and had too many calories for a prolonged period of time, okay? The people who are lean and healthy weight, they haven't done that, okay? Over a prolonged period of time, they've been steady with their calories or, periods of deficit and things like that, okay? And that has become habit for them. So no matter what you think about my approach and the things I've talked about in these 3 episodes, at the end of the day, the key, like anything, is to have good, sustainable habits. And that means doing some work in the short term and then consciously thinking about it. And then over time, we're trying to let those habits form so it's a really positive and sustainable part of your life. Because that's what I would love. I'd love for some of you to get in touch with me in 3 or 6 months' time, say, Ben, those videos really helped me. I've really turned things around. I'm a lean, mean mountain biking machine and I'm going to go and enter my first race or whatever. That would be amazing. So go and try some of these techniques and approaches. Go back to that first video, watch it again. Maybe keep a food diary. Maybe, log your exercise and keep track of your calories and your steps and things like that, because it all adds together. If you've got any questions, you know what to do. Hit like, hit subscribe, drop me some comments, share this with some riding buddies, and hopefully I'll bump into loads of you out on the trails later this year. Thanks so much.